stuff. I would say just don't let your viewers change the way you want your channel to be. You know, you have to be yourself. You have to do what you want. Hobbs, I know this happens to you all the time. People come in and tell you to play the best decks out there and just be good. And you tell them, you say, like, no, I play the decks I want to play and I have more fun that way. And that's how you have to do it. You have to play the games you want to play them the way you want to play them. And you just run your channel and don't let people dissuade you into be something you're not. And I'd say that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, I'm glad you went first, Seraph, because that's huge. It's funny because you get people don't play this, play that. The other thing too with what we're talking about pitfalls, right?
Yes.
Obviously, privacy is a big thing, but that's like anything in life. We know there's people out there. The other thing, speaking though, is you get trolls out there. Thank goodness for mods, but don't knee jerk. Okay, don't knee jerk. Somebody can say the rudest thing to you, and sometimes it hurts. It really does. But you can't knee jerk. You have to let it go. And as much as you want to grow an audience, you have to ban some people sometime. You don't need them in your channel. I know we can all say, oh, yeah, but it's bigger numbers and people watching equals momentum. I honestly think that a lot of the streamers that are bigger than me, when I see some of the chat, I don't want that for me nor my viewers. So yes, you're right. I am in a growth phase right now, but I still don't want to grow to the level of just rude, who can be ruder, blah, 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 racism, sexism, as Sarah says. I don't get that, thankfully, but all these things you will see, and thank goodness for your mods. So if you can get somebody who believes in the long-term goal of your channel, like half the mods in your channel I can see are my mods, because they're good viewers. They really, really are. They're nice people. And so that's not really a pitfall. That's like a benefit. So the what else was I going to say? The pitfalls. Yeah, the scams on the interweb. But basically, one thing I will say, now this is more for partners. I know Hybrid's in the chat. You're going to see YouTube come up, and right now, I would say if you are partnered, stick with Twitch for a while. Don't be jumping, because I don't know if they're going to throw out any, because maybe that's the other thing. Know your contract is you don't want to be kind of like jeopardizing your channel because you're jumping over and streaming on different things, and then you find out later, oops, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know what I mean? So, because I know that a while ago when Hitbox came live, a few big streamers lost their partnership. They probably regained them, but it's still a fight you don't want to have. And really, I still think Twitch is the way to go. I just want to, speaking of running off topic, I'm running off topic for one moment. I want to talk about YouTube gaming. Really love Twitch more because after I've seen the layout of YouTube gaming, the thumbnails are too big, and you're like, well, what do thumbnails have to do with it? Well, for someone like Seraph and yourself who are growing, if the thumbnails are bigger and you get like 6 guys who are already made, and the other thing too is they're promoting guys who aren't even online. Okay, I don't mind when Swift or somebody who's big or Towley gets online, they got the #1 spot, because guess what? They deserve it because their viewers showed up. But even Towley can have a bad night where he's 4th down on the list and there's other guys above him. Okay. And that's great because that's a natural progressive thing. And that's the other thing I really like about here is Seraph can get found playing, she plays at the fighting game.
Smash Bros.
Smash Bros. Or the other one, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Yeah, so you can get found most likely more easier on that than you can on Hearthstone. Am I correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, oh, Hybrid Panda just got deleted somehow.
Like going off that, I kind of like I always tell people not to play League because League is probably the worst game you can play if you're like a new streamer.
Oh, because people
League's
will tear you up.
well, not even that, but like you can literally go to the league list right now and scroll down, and you won't hit the bottom of that list for like 5 minutes, just because there's so many people that stream that game that people with one or two viewers you won't ever see them.
Right.
So
But if you like, let's say, Sarah, if you, I know you play League or had in the past.
yeah, I used
Let's
to.
So if you decided to play tonight, you probably would not do it to get more viewers, but to
Yeah, that's
entertain
true.
your existing audience.
No, I mean
You
that,
would
but
have
I
a
mean
view
like
count
as a
because
starting viewer, as a starting streamer, I wouldn't recommend playing that game. Is what I mean. Because if you don't have any viewers, you're not going to get any viewers there.
I just want to also address Hybrid Panda said there's a lot of luck and hard work involved with getting started. Some people go for months or years without any recognition whatsoever, but what really goes is how you can look at a stand-up comedy. People try it, but only a handful make it. And it is true. Luck. I was super lucky, man. Could you imagine? My first video went viral. I was very persistent in making sure it was original before I put it out, but I didn't know that I would have 8 years later and still involved in it and still going. But then I started building and building and building. My second video, not as big. My third, not as big. My fourth, not as big. But I kept going and I started developing the audience the same way here. But I did have a little push because the first one it was new, it was original, it hadn't been seen. Um, but luck, you do create a bit of your own luck, guys. I want to tell you one thing. Uh, I read a book on luck, and um, create your own RNG. Basically, we do certain things that increases our luck. You meet certain people. You do like tonight. Ghost, your luck's up a little bit because you got a few extra people. So maybe the one viewer that followed tonight is going to be one of your best viewers who might know five more people, and then that's where the luck progresses. But if you just came home from your hard day at work and said, you know what, I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, your luck goes down a little bit because now you're not progressing. But the big thing I was going to hold on. I got a point to this whole luck story. I'm just trying to remember where I'm going. Oh, a bunch of people said you were so lucky to be on Trollden's video. Okay, I that 192 Chromagus hit. It got featured on Trollden's video. He gets about 1 million views a hit.
Oh.
Okay, so but I had so many people say, "Man, you're so lucky," and I'm thinking, I wish you knew how lucky I was. I one, I worked for 8 years in this industry through ups and downs, through tears, through wanting to give up, through pushing. Then, secondly, I when I got into Hearthstone and started really, and I got that one, I'm thinking Trollden. Well, I sent him two videos before that got declined that didn't make the cut. Yeah, he said maybe another time. Perfect. Thirdly, so that was in February of this year. And then 6 months later, I send him the 192. Don't hear from much. Send him another nice little message. Say, hey, listen, if you're going to feature this, I'd like to do it before they announce. Because remember, about a month ago, they were announcing the big, nobody knew what it was, expansion, but there was an announcement on Twitch. I said, I'd like to get it out now before that, just in case it becomes irrelevant. Because, I mean, all the games of Hearthstone from, two expansions ago, people are, they're not as relevant because we're in the now, right? And he says, I'd really like to do it too. And he goes, I'll sneak that one in. He put it in. But I mean, there was probably about 5 times of me chatting with that guy. And he had actually offered it right at the beginning because he had watched my Hobbs videos. So yes, there's a lot of things that went through luck because he knew who I was and this and that. But it wasn't just like I put out a video and then 2 months later, bam, there it is on his thing. So you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to do some legwork. And getting back to our first question about riding coattails versus not, no, I was networking with him and he had offered it, and Hybrid knows that. Anytime that I did, we did WoW things, I always. And I was getting more, I think, at the time at Hybrid, and we always sometimes Hybrid's higher and I'm lower, whatever. But I knew that and there was a friend of his and mine, Zilla 8, and we were trying to help her out. Um, the thing is I always wanted to make sure it was a two-way street. It's always a two-way street. It's not just about Hobbs. It's not just about it's a growth together, and some people forget that. I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but
Oh, it's fine. It's
I'm
great.
very passionate about this. Um, I've seen it happen where it can ruin friendships. Where all of a sudden, let's say you have two, let's say you and Seraph are going, and then one day Seraph just boom flies through the roof. She's, top 10 Twitch, and then she forgets about ghosts. Like,
Um,
and I'm not saying that's in your character. I know it's not, Seraph, but I'm just saying that sometimes that happens and it ruins friendships. And I'm glad Hybrid Panda's here because when Hybrid Panda left Machinima and when Trade Chat left Machinima, I actually had a little bit of tears. Um, because I knew I'd still see them, but I wanted to make sure they went to a network that was almost notorious at the time of just collabing within themselves. Okay. Like they did not shout out anybody unless they were underneath that umbrella, where I was always somebody kind of like, when you went to high school, people would be like, "Oh, this is my high school. We're the best. We're the best over here." I always hung out with tons of people. I didn't care. It's a stupid thing over your head. This machinima thing is a thing that pays you. This is what pays me. That what pays that person. What should really matter is, do we click as people? You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm gonna stop because I've kind of took us off into
It was a
a
good.
way.
That's what we all love about what Hobbs. He just leads into the beautifulness of the passion that he has. Go
I have a couple more things I want to add to that. The
ahead.
question.
Go right ahead. Go right
Okay,
ahead.
because I remembered more things I wanted to say. I'd say like another pitfall of streaming would be that you know, people like I know a lot of people, especially on WoW, because there's a lot of people in the PvP community that just like to stream for fun
Mhm.
and who are very new to streaming. And I've even helped some of them set up their streams and stuff. But I mean, like a lot of the people are you need mods for your channel, obviously, because mods are like your backbone. They're always going to be there to help you. I know, like, I'm always here to help Ghost, and it's, you need that in your stream because you need people you can trust. So I would say don't make like just random people mods that ask to be mods, like, just because they're, the only viewers there, or your mods aren't there at the time. They have to have the right qualities of people that you can trust. So I would say definitely get good mods. And the second thing I wanted to say was to not let your emotions spill over onto your stream. Like while you want to be a real person on your stream. That's definitely you want to be yourself. That's definitely not what I'm trying. You want to be yourself, but at times, like Ghost, I know you have hard days at work a lot, but you still get on and you still stream. And like Hob says, you don't just not stream because you're tired, or you just have to get out there and do it. And if someone says something to you, like a troll or something, it's gonna hurt. Like I know I've had issues with this a lot personally because I'm a very sensitive person, and I get hurt a lot, and I get hurt very easily. But you can't let it ruin your stream. You have to let it. You have to just brush it off your shoulders, keep going, because there's all those other viewers there for you, and they love you for the way you are, and you don't have to change just because one person says it to change. So just try to keep your emotions in check, but still be yourself, I would say.
I agree with
Rod
it.
Rod NASA says people have asked me to make the mod in return they would donate. I couldn't accept it. That's the other thing too with donations too. I try not to make it as people say, "Hey, if you put a shoe on your head, not shoe on your head," but they say stuff like, "I'll donate." I'm like, the donates are only there for people who want to contribute to seeing the show go long term. They're not there for personal requests for me to, whatever, do stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's a bit about not we kind of going back what Sarah said is knowing who you are and just kind of keep it and yeah, and money's not everything in this. Like there will be a day you guys will see my donations gone because I was never comfortable with at the beginning because I was making good money on YouTube, but then when that went away, honestly, I to keep going I had no other choice. So for a new streamer, yes, donations are important. They are very important. um, and because little bits do add up. It buys you a new microphone. It buys you a little like I. That's the other thing we should talk about starting up on streaming is work with what you have. You listen to some people who have dreams, guys, and they always have a reason why they want to not pursue their dream. They don't have the right this. They don't have this yet. They don't have that. Start if it's your goal, okay, and I know it's not start with what you have, like the lighting. I've had crap lighting in the back. I've had what you call it, really bad